This is Anoki the One with Red Pill Radio, and I would like to introduce you guys to Coach Hill. I always talk about, I was just telling him how I have never met another person who is reading this book. I think you came to me because either I came to you because you were reading the book, or you came to me because I was reading the book. Something like that.
Something of that effect. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. And I was like,
you leave impressions on people. And regardless.
Yeah. For sure. And I want to dig deep on like mental toughness, because I think that's a big part of the book. But also like some of the principles of success and how you've been able to use that in your life to get to where you are now. And so for one, I want you to basically introduce yourself and let people know where you are now and kind of how you got there.
Okay. Well, definitely. My real name is Coach Craig Hill.
Yeah.
My parents gave me the name Craig Hill.
Yeah.
I changed it. No, this is really Craig Hill, native Houstonian, live out in Sugar Land now, and been married for going on 24 years.
Yeah.
24 years. You get up there and you start to,
okay,
because you get mixed up. When did I meet? And then when did we marry?
Yeah.
So we actually been together for over 26 years.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
27. And that's part of the book.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, that's part of the book. A lot of
that's,
people don't get it.
Yeah.
You and I had a little time where we were talking about really understanding what the book is really saying to you, rather than just reading it, really understanding it.
Yeah.
And but my background in corporate America was in management. I got involved with telecommunication industry right after the telecommunication law was passed. A lot of opportunity there. Yeah. That was back when long distance was like 50 cents a minute with 4 minute billing. So if you pick up the phone and say hi, and the other person say hi, that's 50 cents, regardless if they busy or not. And now we have these things called cell phones, right? And you call them anywhere in the world with the way technology is. So that tell you how old I am if the gray hair didn't let you know. But that was my background. And one day I got a tap on my shoulder from a lady out when I was doing a promotion out in Killeen, Texas, and she said, "You're pretty good at what I was doing." I was coming out of telecom, going into some more handsy sales. Yeah. And she said, "Man, you're pretty good at what you do." And I said, "Yeah, I know."
There you go.
A little confidence, a little cockiness. You got to have both, right? Yeah. It was really because I had already started reading some of the books that my then friend had turned over to me. The first book I can really remember reading was the Magic of Thinking Big. And then he turned me on to Awakening the Giant Within.
That's a good one.
And from there, I found out about Napoleon Hill's books. Yeah. And really started my journey there as far as developing myself within, so that I could have things without. Without doesn't necessarily mean without things, but it means without. Everything that comes to us comes because of what's going on the inside of us. Yeah. So, I got involved with the industry of networking, and I've had some ups and downs with it. It's just like with any other business. I tell people all the time, expect good times and some tough times. Yeah. And my first few years, made a little bit of money. Yeah. It took really what Malcolm Gladwell talks about when he talks about becoming a professional and being proficient and being a pro and everything. It takes about 5 to 7 years. Yeah. And I hit my first break at around about 5.5 years, and that was my first $10,000 month. Yeah. And then it disappeared. Different things happened.
You got excited?
Well, you get excited, but it's the old, peak to peak principle. I got to a peak, and then sometimes when you get to a peak, there's a valley.
That just happened.
A lot of people don't like that. They think it's just, they say trees don't grow to the sky. They have just stop points. Well, mountains don't just keep on going up. They have ups and downs, and you know it. And the company that we were with, we ended up having a down period, and left there, went someplace else, left there, went someplace else, and then finally hit a pretty good niche where I made a couple of million, and then it went away. Yeah. Yeah, and learned some lessons there. Yeah. And now back on another peak looking point, if you would. And you really want to know, this is a great book, but Napoleon also wrote Outwitting the Devil.
I was going to ask you if you read that.
Oh, come on, man. Come on now.
Learning from adversity?
Learning from adversity, and just hearing his story, though.
Yeah.
Because we tend to think of these authors and these people, these magnates, as whatever they call them, the giants of the industry and self-help. You like, man, after reading this book, I know you have no problem.
Yeah, ever.
Divorce, bankruptcy. Yeah. They got all these problems. Norman Benson Peale and all the rest of them have all these challenges. And for me, that book really helped me to understand that no matter how successful you are, there's always going to be hills and valleys as long as we're here on this plane, if you would.
That's true.
And but the book really came to me by, like I said, reading, and I found this book many years ago. Yeah. This is my second one, I think.
Yeah, I need to get another one.
Yeah, I think I had this one. I've only had this one since I think like 2004 or something like that. Yeah. And I think the first edition I ever got was like in the 90s, like 96, 97.
Wow.
And did you know they just made this? You can actually listen to the audio now.
Of that whole
YouTube,
thing?
Of the whole thing.
Oh, my God.
It's on YouTube.
It took me 5 years. And I made sure I highlighted everything that I needed.
Well, that just helps to be able to have it. But I always hear people say, when they see the book, and the thickness of the book, I don't have time to read that.
Yeah, people are like, that's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. Oprah Winfrey said it best. And I'm not endorsing Oprah, but she come to $1 billion status. She said, we're all given the same amount of time.
That's true.
So don't say you don't have time to read. Say you don't like to read.
Yeah,
say you don't want to read. Don't say you don't have time to read. And in today's world with audios, you got even less of an excuse to at least listen.
Exactly.
Right? So that's when this book first came into mind, and the you just let me know if I'm just rambling.
No, that's what I want you to ramble as much as you.
No, you get up there and you sound so good to yourself, and the person's like, "Will he please shut up so I can ask them a question?"
No.
The first chapter of the book is really, it's not like any other book. Usually you get some soft things. Maybe you might get a story, and you get a little bit of that. But then he jumps right into it.
Doesn't play.
He doesn't play in this book. Yeah. I came up with the first. I do everything in acronyms. That's kind of like helps my mind think. So I might be popping off a few of those. But this one is electrons, atoms, matter. Yeah. So the electrons brings together with the atoms, and which create matter. But none of those things actually work unless there's that ether. And they figured out what the electrons is. And they end up what the atoms is, and they know that it creates matter and proton, neutron. They still haven't figured out what the ether is.
Yeah, that's true.
And in his book, The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wallow says that there's a thinking substance in which all things are made, and which in its original shape penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. And then he starts to talk about our thoughts into that substance produces the thing that we've imaged. Yeah. Well, that's that ether again. And I call him Almighty God.
Yeah, there you go.
Elohim, El Shaddai. Exactly. Yeah, I call him that. I ain't going to go off on religion or anything like that. Well, you're a religious person. No, I'm a person to understand that everything that we see is made up of what? Electrons, atoms, and those things, the matter, the molecules. And that's where he really starts off. He lets you know that we're all in this together. We just have different components arranged in different ways held together by that ether. The only reason why when I shake somebody's hand I don't melt into them is because of that ether that is said, no, that matter doesn't go into that matter. But, and then later on he starts to talk about marriage, how that ether then goes into that matter. It's just wow,
I was just
some spiritual stuff there.
Yeah.
Napoleon got down with that book.
He did.
He got down with that book, but that really let me know, really understanding it's about personalities. To have a pleasing personality, which then gets you into the mastermind, which then gets you into the zone of being able to attract, to impact, and then to empower people. So it starts to all come into. But here's the thing, being able to keep it. that's the person who's able to really. I have a couple of friends of mine. I'm not going to say their names here, but initials are HB, who has been studying this book for a long time as well, and the principles in this book, and he's mastered on how to actually get that synchronicity that you have to have in order to get into the millions and to stay there.
Yeah. That's the part.
Well, Elon Musk has a problem with not
I
just
think everybody,
getting somewhere, but staying there. All the great minds. You can look at the president. You can look at the Broom Blair. You can look at Obama. You can look at all these people. To be able, you have to be able to attract enough of whatever the type of people you want. It could be a criminal mind and criminal organization. Al Capone had it, right? And he talks about Busby and some other people who've been able to actually do it in the criminal enterprise. And then also on the entrepreneur side, it takes a strong mind to not only gather that, but to keep that.
And to protect yourself around, because people change. Sometimes the people that were in your mastermind when you first started, you might have to reevaluate because you are changing. And really, it's not so much that you're changing, but your situation is changing. So the people around you don't understand these same principles. They might start to change. So then you have to have that discernment.
That great philosopher Usher said, you evolve or you evaporate. And sometimes while you're evolving, they are evaporating. They're not actually putting themselves in the right situation, circumstances around with the right environment to be able to grow. That's why he says, again, when it comes down to marriages, one person's growing, the other person's not. And you really hear that in divorce court. We kind of like grew apart.
A lot of times.
Why did y'all grow apart? Y'all started off liking this and this and this, but one person got some enlightenment and then started on that trail, and the other person just stood there.
And that does not work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work in business. It doesn't work in, very, very few things does it work, because he talks about, really, if you look at this the first part of it, it's really about building relationships. That's what it comes down to. Me being here with you right now is because I built enough of a relationship where, when you were ready, then you picked up the phone and you gave me a call. Hey, let's do what we do. But that came from that initial, meeting of the minds, having a conversation, not pushing it, not forcing it, but allowing it to happen.
Exactly.
And the reason why I said, I do it, definitely. But let's make time to make it happen. It's because I recognize that. It's very true. You got to be able to recognize it too. And
I was thinking about, because I'm in the entertainment industry, I'm in the music industry. I don't feel like I'm in the industry, but it's what I do is exactly. But a lot of artists, they feel like they have to push and force their forced relationship, because everybody talks about networking and things like that, which is great. But I feel like the best networking is when you've done enough work on yourself and you resonate a certain energy and people are attracted to you. You don't even have to really just go out of your way, but you have that energy and people want to be a part of that.
That's right.
So I feel like the first step for anybody is to work on your energy and work on yourself to where you attract greatness, because this past year it's been crazy. The people that I've met and worked with and people who listening to me, I'm like, I've been listening to you for years. You listening to what I have to say? But I think it has to do with just spending so much time alone, which is one thing, and working on yourself, reading books like this that rarely anybody has ever read. So when you do speak, you have something of value to say to people. So,
can I give you one of those acronyms?
Yes.
It's a powerful acronym. And first three letters in powerful is what?
POW.
POW. Now when people say POW, you think prisoner of war, right? But no. It's you becoming a person of worth.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you start to read books like this and listen to audios and surround yourself, your value goes up.
That's
how you
crazy.
Feel about yourself now. Like you said, very few people read this book, right? So if very few people are reading this book and you read that book, you get a little.
It's true.
Okay, yeah. It's something about me that they don't have. And you don't use it to slam it in their face, but you recognize that, okay, I am doing the things that it takes in order to have what it is that I say I don't use the word want, I use the word desire. That's what Napoleon said, a burning desire, right? So the things that you really desire. And that's the first POW, becoming a person of worth.
Yep.
And what happens when you start to actually become that person of worth, then you get the pearls of wisdom.
True. Yeah.
Notice I just didn't say wisdom, I said pearls of wisdom. When you think about pearls, you think about more than one.
Yep.
So it's these little nuggets that you're actually getting. Each line that you read, each paragraph that you read, each chapter that you read, that's another pearl in your little,
Exactly.
Right? So you got the pearls, and what is wisdom? Well, wisdom is the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how to navigate through a situation.
Yeah.
So as you're reading this book and you're associating with the right people and you're bringing all this in, then you're getting wisdom in this area, wisdom in that area. Everything's starting to come to you and flow to you.
Yeah.
The next one is simply because of the power of words.
Yes, that's huge.
Power of words. Words in the beginning.
Yep.
Right. In the beginning, it was there. You know,
Exactly.
nothing was created until somebody opened up their mouth, and I call that somebody who Elohim, right? And so Elohim opens up his mouth, and he says, in the beginning was the word was with him. And so it's through the power of words. So we become a person of worth through pearls of wisdom because of the power of the words, which is really the psychology of winning. Having the right words that we've gathered, and the wisdom of how to win in every situation. And that's when you actually have the challenge, okay, how can I turn this, what looks like a losing event, into a winning event?
That's very true.
By learning what I need to learn in there, which gives me more wisdom, so the next time when that comes around, I don't walk down that same path, or I do a few things to change that.
Yeah.
And that right there, I give you the psychology of the wealthy.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Which is the thought process. That's how wealthy people think. So that's very powerful. Once you get all that in line, then it changes not only your life, but anybody's life that you're around.
Exactly.
Like right now, the conversation that you and I are having, it's impossible for us to have this conversation and not for it to go through our conscious into our subconscious, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody that you come around, like you said, you start to affect people, you start to empower people, you start to impact people, and then all of a sudden, that's what they like to say, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, Amber, I remember just a few years ago, she was driving this type of truck, and now she's got this. How did that happen? All of a sudden.
I know. You know? That's crazy. People really be thinking stuff just happened overnight. When you met me, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, I was literally teaching like this. I had this vision, drawn out everything. I've been reading that, studying, and I was literally teaching people songwriting and music production at Starbucks with some headphones. At Starbucks. That was my place of business.
Wow.
So when people come in here, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is nice," and how did you get this? I'm like, it's a long story.
Read the book.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I got the books. Y'all don't read the books, but
y'all don't read the books, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, also that what was that song Mary and them had a few years ago?
Dang.
Go Get It. What was it? The one where she come in and she hit her knees and she's doing a prayer and then she gets paid. You know.
Dang.
I think it was Go Get It, wasn't it?
I think it was like. Something about I don't remember.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly.
And they wonder how you actually get what you got. And well, read the books.
Exactly.
And then apply.
Yeah.
Because in that he talks about that, right? He says that knowledge is only potential power.
Exactly.
It only becomes powerful when we apply it.
Exactly.
And how we apply it.
Yeah.
And when we apply it, that's that wisdom stuff again.
That's very true.
And I'm extremely proud of you and what you've been able to accomplish. It shows that you've been able to put it to practice.
Yeah.
My words to anybody that has ever created anything or gotten something off the ground. Remember how you did it. Make sure you keep journals on how you did it, because life is truly going to throw you some curveballs. It always does. And unfortunately, when it throws us that curveball, we tend to feel as though, well, if it was really, why didn't it just keep going?
Yeah, why didn't it just stay the way I wanted it to?
Yeah, you know,
got excited
why didn't I go from this to a 10,000 square foot or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, whatever your ultimate vision is.
Yeah.
And it's because that's part of the test.
Yeah.